Hi there, this is my channel, Jaru Walks. In the year 2024, I will embark on an epic walking journey across the United States. My plan is to walk 8,000 miles across the US 3 times, via the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. In the hiking world, this is known as a calendar year Triple Crown, and has only been completed by a handful of people in history. I plan to post weekly updates along the way, so you can join me for the journey.
Oh, she's scary, very scary. Oh.
So I'm at the outfitter here in Daleville, and I just traded my old Topo Ultra Adventure 3s out for my new ones. So you can see what they look like new. And this is what they look like after 700 miles of use. There's holes in these shoes. And I bought them I bought them in Atlanta just before I started the hike. So, I bought them in Boston just before I started the hike, and that was not more than 45 days ago. So those are 45-day-old shoes, and you can see through them, all torn up. And the second I put these new shoes on, I could immediately feel the difference in my feet. I think I've been actually having like some pain issues that are resulting from how broken down those shoes were. So hoping that this was worthwhile to stick it out until 10 a.m. to get new shoes. And I can't believe that they have these shoes in dark green, which it's impossible to find them online or anywhere, and in my exact size. So these are what I wore in the Arizona Trail. So I feel like I'm stepping back into the shoes that I really like. I know that color doesn't matter technically, but I love these so much. So I was on the phone, and then I just realized I hiked something like 2.5 miles off trail while I was chatting. And it was all downhill. So I basically have to hike back up a mountain to get back on the trail. I could blue blaze around and hit the shelter over there. But that would be breaking the continuous footpath, and it would be not right. So this is how you know I'm staying honest. But this really sucks. So that's like a 5-mile detour down and back up. Okay, so I'm back on the trail white blazing, and this is right where I made the wrong turn. So I'm going to show you how this happened. Walking, and you naturally want to go off this way. It's not as clear because it's night, but there's a dead clear trail there. But now if I turn 180 degrees, that's where the trail went. Look, it goes from there, boom, a 180. It is a 180 at a junction with another trail. And this trail has 0 blue blaze marks on it. There were blue blaze marks coming the opposite way, coming back up the mountain. No blue blazes going the other way. So obviously still my fault, for walking without monitoring white blazes. But it sure seems like every time I've gotten off trail on the AT, it's been because of something like a 180 degree turn in the trail at the exact same time that it joins with another trail. And then there aren't blue blazes, which is so frustrating. It's still my fault, but man, that's frustrating. All right, morning, I don't know what number, put it at the bottom, and I'm crossing the James River, somewhere in central Virginia. So pretty. Oh my God, I had to pause there. I just met the most amazing character. His name was Joey. I filmed him as I was walking up, but I didn't want to film him once I was talking to him. It was just one of those moments where I'd rather just have it in person. But he's out here fishing he was just kind of sitting in his morning clothes. Like he had his pajamas on and jacket on. And then as I got closer, I saw he had a unfiltered cigarette held in his hand, but he's not smoking it yet. He's just sitting there fishing in his morning clothes. And then I get to talking to him, and he has this deep southern accent, unlike anything I've heard so far out here. Trail's this way. And I ask him, you know, how's the fishing going? He's like, oh, I haven't caught anything yet. And then I hear his accent. I'm like, man, where are you from? He's like, oh, I'm over, you know, from in the hills east of Lynchburg. And I was like, wow, I would have guessed he's from like Louisiana or something. It was so southern. But yeah, it was just the nicest guy. And I asked him like what he catches. He said like catfish and something else. And he says he fillets them and then he strings them up and he lets them sit in the creek for a couple of days because it cleans out the flavor. Apparently the flavor is not that good in the catfish, he was saying. Or at least it's better once they string them up and let them sit in the creek. And then he said he uses Old Bay seasoning and sometimes he'll like batter up the fish, but that was pretty cool. So it's pretty rare that I can put my hikes into perspective because like the whole time you're hiking, you're, you know, in these trees that you see along the ridgelines, and there's never really a vantage point, or there's rarely a vantage point where you can look back and see the trail that you hiked. But this morning, earlier, I shot a video of me crossing a footbridge. You can see down there let me get my finger up. You can see two bridges down there. The one on the right's the footbridge, and the one on the left is a train bridge. I took that footbridge across maybe 1 hour and a half ago, and now I'm up here. And then from there, if you follow the riverbank along to the right there in the middle, that intersection, that's where the Appalachian Trail cuts into the riverbank. And then if you follow that like kind of envelope between these hills, let me zoom out. Maybe my finger can work here. Right there, in between those hills, that's the route I came down. And that's where I camped, is roughly just behind that peak in between there. And so it took me roughly, like 2 hours and 45 minutes to get up to where I am from being camped between those two hills this morning. So down, over, across the footbridge, and then up this mountain. And then yesterday, when I got lost coming down, so first off, before I got lost, when I got back on trail, the trail goes up in between these hills, and then up behind that ridge, this way, and then back along that ridge line and back, okay? And what I'm talking about is just the very tail end of yesterday. So like I can see this weather radar dome way up there on that hill. I was passing that in the mid-afternoon yesterday. So when I look at all this, it's just remarkable. That's just the very tail end of yesterday's hike. But where I got lost was, so this ridge is where the trail goes up along here. I came down this side of the mountain. Let me zoom out. I came down this side of the mountain and I made it all the way about there. So then I had to turn around and go, sorry, is it B? All the way back up that ridge and connect back to get down to this campsite. And my legs were hurting at that point. But that's just, again, the very tail end of that hike. But it's such a cool vantage point to be able to look back and see what I just did. And then to consider that, I mean, you know, this is just the fingernail's edge of the end of yesterday's hike. And again, when I say it's not flat ground, you're just churning up and down hills. This is what I'm talking about. So a really cool spot to kind of reflect. All right, kicking off my morning now. I stayed at the shelter up there on the hill. You can barely see it right above there. So last night I stayed in a shelter, and to my surprise, there was a NoBo guy in there, a thru hiker, southbound, and he worked in Army intelligence and was a colonel. So then tonight I stay in this shelter. This guy also is a southbounder and worked in Army intelligence and recently retired. And they have not even met each other. So they have like the same professions, are right around the same age. They're both going southbound, and they both worked in Army intelligence, which is just hilarious. It was almost like deja vu, like meeting the same guy again. But of course they were different. But anyway, it turns out that this guy lived in Germany and is a DJ and a music producer. So he makes his own beats, like house and techno, which I'm a big fan of, like house and techno music. So it was just like wild to meet a guy who was in the Army and worked in intelligence and is like, I don't know if I had to guess, like 45 or 50 or something, and is been doing DJing and music production for house and techno since the 2000s in Germany. Just like, what? Again, like the people you meet on this trail, you're like, he was saying, you know, there's always one or two nutty people you have to go through, but that's to wade through the water to get to the awesome people, which is pretty much everybody else. So pretty sweet. Oh, ow. Well, okay, so I've been hiking since, for like 4 days or so since Daleville. And my next resupply is this general store that's up here off the trail. And I'm working off of an app that shows me maps of like where stuff is located. And the icon for the town where the store is located is like another 12 miles down the trail or so. But I just saw that the road that goes to the general store, which is not in the town, is actually just about 3 miles up. And I just discovered that an hour ago. So I've been hiking literally as fast as I can because it's coming down to the minute right now. If I hike at 3 miles per hour for 2 hours, that would get me the 6.5 miles I needed to go to get to the turnoff up here. And I'm halfway there now. And that would get me there at 4:30 p.m. And then it's 2 more miles down a road to get to that general store for my resupply. And they close at 5 p.m. So I have to stay 100% on pace as fast as I can go right now to get to that turnoff to that road. And then when I hit that road, I think I'm gonna have to drop my bag and run to see if I can get to that general store. And I know it's like, okay, you're hiking all these miles, you can run there in 30 minutes, but what if they close 10 minutes early or 15 minutes early? And also, I've been hiking hundreds and hundreds of miles. Like my knees are sore. Like I'm in great walking condition. I'm not in great running condition. So, the difference this is gonna make is tremendous. Because if I don't make it before they leave, I'm gonna have to walk back, get my bag, walk there, and camp out there till the morning, because I'm gonna be out of food as of tonight. And the next town isn't for a day and a half or something. So if I don't make it, if I miss them by 5 minutes, I'm gonna have to camp out overnight at the general store until they open at 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm normally on trail by like 7. And then I gotta hike the 2 miles back to get on trail again. So, man, I'm hiking hard to make it right now. The other concern is there's apparently a large rainstorm moving in tonight at midnight. And again, all I pack is a tarp. So if I have to camp out at that general store, I'm gonna be sleeping in the rain with the tarp, which is not ideal. So I'm really interested to see how this turns out. But I guess we're gonna find out right now. It's currently 4:50 p.m. I think I see the store up there. I started running over 2 hours ago, or, hiking fast on trail. And in my head, I was like, I think I'll get there at 4:50 to 4:55. That is it, and it's 4:53. Got it. So I just saw a bald eagle flying over above that pond. I got it on video, but I'm not sure how good the video turned out. I'm kind of cold and shivering, although I do feel warm. My jacket is warm, at least. I'm just wearing shorts. So yeah, I made it to the store at like 4:56, and I confirmed with a lady when I came in, am I okay to stay a little bit past 5 o'clock? She said, yeah, I'm fine. Her policy is, if you get here after 5, she'll let you shop and, you know, finish your stuff. But if you get here after 5 and don't get in the store, she locks the door and lowers the blinds. Because I guess that's a thing that happens pretty often in the summer, is people banging on the door. So I'm glad I made it inside. It was so close. I was so close to not making it. 4 minutes from when I got into the store. 4 minutes after I got into the store, she closed the door, locked it, and lowered the blinds. So, which is wild, just from my perspective, because I was up there in those mountains, something like 2 hours and 15 minutes, no, 2.5 hours prior, when I realized, oh crap, the road that gets me here is a lot sooner than I thought. I'm so thankful that I saw it when I saw it, because there were literally only 4 minutes to spare at that point, because I hiked as hard as I could. Those are the mean looking clouds, in my opinion. It's still daylight out. Those are dark. So I'm looking for the shelter right now, but it's so foggy, it's like literally hard to find it. Oh. There's the table. Oh, it's right there. Wow. Look at that. I'm standing. Watch how far away. I'm like 5 feet away right now. It'll disappear if I get 10 feet. And it's gone. I'm 20 feet away. All right, I'm heading out from the Priest Mountain shelter back there. Okay, I got in this shelter and there's this bird flying around. And I thought, oh, I should film that. And I was like, no, I'll just let the bird have peace. Now the bird's flying at me. I think it's up behind me. I'm thinking it maybe has a nest in here, and I'm trying to not disturb it, but at the same time, I'm going to sleep here. Hopefully it's at peace wherever it is. So quick little update for today. I'm going to start by jumping back though and just providing some commentary on yesterday, because I didn't really record very many videos. Basically, early in the morning yesterday, so kind of more in the night, like, you know, I'm talking like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., the fog became pretty relentless, and I had like a layer of condensation developing really everywhere in the lean-to, but on my sleeping bag. And so I had to add on an extra layer because my bag got wet, but not soaking wet, but wet enough that you felt it. And I started shivering. So I added an extra layer on, that helped. Wake up in the morning and the forecast was for it to be down at the ground level, mid-30s all day, and rain all the way till 6 p.m. And keep in mind, I'm up at higher elevation where it's maybe colder, but if I had to guess, I would say 35 Fahrenheit was what I woke up to, and about where it stayed for most of the day. So just above the freezing level with rain falling. And my shelter options weren't that good. So I had one shelter in 8 miles that was halfway up the next mountain, and then 2 shelters that were further back on the ridge line, like I think 16 and 26 miles out. And I ended up resolving on just going for the shelter at 8 miles, because my thought process was, I don't really want to expose myself, go all the way up the next mountain, be on that ridge line with these heavy crosswinds, heavy fog, heavy rain. And I know that my rain jacket will be saturated at that point. I mean, let's see, navigation, not that one, this one. Like, I don't think it would kill you, but I think it would take about 3 scoops out of your sanity. It was just too much to commit to. And so I decided I'm just going to go for this shelter in 8 miles. But then I'm like, well, why would I walk out in the middle of the rain today to do that? Why not wait till 6 p.m. when the rain stops? So I spent most of yesterday editing videos in the shelter. I met 2 ultra marathoners who kept running up and down the Priest, which is like the epic mountain that I was on top of. And they were kind of giving me trail updates. And it turned out we actually had a friend in common, like this competitive racer guy that we both met in Colorado. And so the plan for today is I'm doing a 27-mile day into Waynesboro, where I'm going to stay at this animal hostel. And I haven't hit a hostel yet in 6 days. So I'm just looking forward to cleaning my laundry, eating some town food, and then getting new groceries and then bouncing out hopefully early tomorrow. You know what, trail worker? Every little bit counts. I want you to know that I appreciate this. Rockfish Gap, about to be picked up by the Stanimal Hostel, and I'm just filming. It says caution wind advisory on that sign right now, and the winds died the second I started filming, but they've just been ripping all day up in the mountains, and I figured I'd just film this to just kind of briefly give you a sense of like how windy it is here, because it was even windier up there all day. Like, there we go. That's the gusts I'm talking about. I put my gloves down and they started to fly away. And this is down here at lower elevation right now. And so I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to imagine if I had decided to go for it the other day in the rain when it was 35 degrees Fahrenheit, if the winds were ripping like they are yesterday, which I don't know if they were or not. I mean, they were up at the pre-shelter where I was staying at. They weren't quite as bad as they were today, but man, they were close, you know. And so I really think I'm just so glad I didn't go out yesterday, because again, like I said, I don't think it would kill you. I mean, obviously it wouldn't, but it could have been like, you know, I would say like early stage hypothermia probably, which is like, I mean, if you've got the shelters and dry clothing to throw on, it's not that concerning. I literally think that that's what I would have experienced if I'd gone out in this yesterday in the rain. Crazy. But it's been like 6 or 7 or more days since I've been in the town where I can eat food in the restaurant. Daleville was the last one. I don't remember how many days ago that was. Something like right around a week or something maybe. So happy to be done with that stretch and to have some town food and, I don't know, sleep inside for a minute. And yeah, I did a 27, I think a little over 27 mile day today, and done before daylight is gone, so moving at a pretty good pace.